I spent billions to make my girlfriend a movie queen. At the awards ceremony, she publicly announced her relationship with the trending actor, Kevin. But I'm not Kevin. My name is Storm. My friends in the entertainment circle all reached out to me, and they unanimously decided, we will directly blacklist this shameless couple. Chapter 1. When my girlfriend attended the Golden Rose Awards, I had just finished a dinner with several renowned directors. During the dinner, I secured contracts for blockbuster films from these directors, one major production for each of them. The lead actress in every film was Cecilia. The winner of this year's Golden Rose Award is MS Cecilia. On TV, Cecilia, dressed in a white gown, proudly walked toward the stage. Everyone knows. 3 years ago I was just an ordinary student at the Film Academy. Today, winning the Golden Rose Award, I have so many people to thank. Cecilia had become the school beauty as soon as she stepped into the academy, and I was her simp boyfriend. On the surface, I was just an average student with a little money, caring for her and silently supporting her growth as her boyfriend at school. In reality, I had invested billions and even used my family connections to pave her way in the entertainment industry. On TV, Cecilia paused for a moment, her face glowing with a bright smile. First, I want to thank director Hugh. He created the script for Big Winds and Waves was just for me. Hugh was my best friend. The camera returned to Cecilia as she smiled and raised the microphone again, saying, there's another person I must thank, and that's my boyfriend. I was grinning like a fool in front of the TV. I'm now announcing my relationship with Kevin. But in the next second, Cecilia looked lovingly toward the audience. Kevin and I have been together for 2 years. For the past 2 years, he has helped me hone my acting skills. Many nights, we stayed up all night rehearsing. I love him, just like I love the stars in the sky. The audience erupted in thunderous applause, but I was trembling with rage. I'm not Kevin. My name is Storm. At the same time, messages from the directors came pouring in. Director Lou, does the investment in the major productions still stand? I replied uniformly. A man's word is his bond. Of course, it still stands. However, I immediately added, but the female lead must be changed. Chapter 2. At the awards ceremony, Cecilia pulled Kevin on stage to show off their relationship. My face darkened, and I called Cecilia, wanting to get some answers. The voicemail said her phone was turned off. I was blocked. At that moment, Cecilia's agent, Lisa, sent me a WeChat message. Mr. Lou, Cecilia has decided to break up with you. She's now a popular movie queen, and you're not good enough for her. We're willing to offer you $200,000 as compensation, but you'll have to sign a non-disclosure agreement first. Attached to the message was the NDA document. $200,000. I looked at the message and couldn't help but laugh with tears in my eyes. Over the years, I've invested billions into helping Cecilia establish herself in the entertainment industry, not to mention the incredible connections I used to pave the way for her. Do they really think her ability to say 1, 2, 3, 4 in acting made her a movie queen? Do they think the judges are blind? Seeing no response from me, Lisa sent another message. Cecilia is now with Mr. Wu, so don't even think about trying to cling on to her. It's impossible. If you're smart, sign the agreement, and we can add a few more thousand. But if you're not, don't blame us for blacklisting you and making it impossible for you to find a job. Mr. Liu, the current job market isn't great. You wouldn't want to graduate and immediately be unemployed, would you? I lost interest in replying to Lisa and raised my hand to turn off the TV. At that moment, Cecilia and Kevin were already kissing in front of the cameras on the stage. Countless spotlights shone on the two of them, and the atmosphere was electric. Journalists from all directions surrounded them, snapping photos non-stop. Hugh suddenly appeared on stage and shoved Kevin aside. Director, Cecilia was confused, but Hugh slapped her across the face. Cecilia stood there, bewildered. Hugh left with a single remark, "You don't deserve to be in my film." The venue erupted again. Cecilia's public confession of love was already headline news, but Hugh's slap caused an absolute sensation. The Golden Rose Awards, Best Director slapping the new movie queen, instant enemies. Tomorrow's headline was guaranteed. I watched this scene at the awards ceremony and let out a long sigh of relief. Hugh, you truly are my brother. Well done. Chapter 3. The next day, Hugh showed up at my place with a bottle of alcohol. Brother, I'm sorry for my film. Hugh's face was red, clearly showing he hadn't slept all night. The film Big Winds and Waves was Hugh's masterpiece, into which he had poured endless effort in pursuit of artistic perfection. When he found out I, a wealthy heir, had fallen for Cecilia, he got inspired and decided to use me as the model for his story. In his mind, Big Winds and Waves was a wedding gift to me. Big Winds and Waves, my name is Storm. Now, that gift is tainted, and it hurt him. I looked at his exhausted face and felt compelled to comfort him instead. Don't worry, brother. We own the film's rights. I'll arrange for it to be taken down later. I'll fund you to shoot it again. This lit up Hugh's eyes. He grabbed my hand, saying sincerely, "What's the budget?" "No limit. You can shoot however you want. You can even film on the moon," I joked. "Then I'll have to add some big scenes." Hugh quickly shifted into creative mode, thinking about the remake. He looked up at me and asked, "Who's the female lead for the new version?" Female lead. Hearing that phrase, my smile froze. Yeah, who would be the female lead? My heart twinged in pain. For the past 3 years, I've been nothing more than a humble simp for Cecilia, the campus beauty. She didn't like me being close to other girls, so I cut off contact with them. Now, I can't think of a suitable female lead at all. Hugh realized he had misspoken and was about to explain when I grabbed the bottle from his hand and poured us 2 glasses. "Today, we're just drinking, no other talk," I said, downing my glass in one go. Seeing this, Hugh also picked up his glass. Bang, bang. The door was knocked. I opened it to find Cecilia standing there with the NDA in her hand. Cecilia wrinkled her nose, smelling the alcohol on me, and gave a disdainful look. "You're ignoring Lisa's messages and hiding at home drinking." She slammed the contract into my chest, snapping, "Pathetic. Breaking up with you was the best decision I ever made." Chapter 4. Why are you here? I frowned, no longer feeling the warmth I once had. An awards ceremony shattered my illusions of Cecilia, and I had decided never to reconcile. Cecilia and I were merely strangers now. "I'll leave as soon as you sign the contract," Cecilia said coldly, her once beautiful eyes now filled with icy indifference. "I'm not going to talk about us. It's embarrassing," I said, throwing the contract on the ground. Cecilia, hearing my words, suddenly exploded, pointing at me and shouting, "Embarrassing? Storm, did you drink your brain away? What's my status? I'm a rising movie queen. And you, a jobless bum who hasn't even found work yet. You must sign this contract today. Lisa said you'll probably use my name to scam others, maybe even sell it for a high price. I can't afford to be humiliated like that." Cecilia became more and more agitated, kicking the contract back at me. I was stunned. I never expected that my once gentle and elegant campus beauty would show such a vulgar side. What an eye-opener. And she said I'd sell it. I'm the eldest son of the Liu family. Who in the world could afford such a price? Are you going to sign or not? Cecilia's voice grew more urgent as she pulled out a wad of 100 yuan bills from her pocket and slapped them against my face. "If you sign, you get money. If you don't blame me for having someone chop off your hand. I'm a big shot in the entertainment industry now. You can't afford to mess with me." I let the money fly around, then sneered as I picked up the contract from the ground. Cecilia stood a meter away, arms crossed, with a smug look as if to say, "You know what's good for you." In the next moment, I ripped the contract into pieces and threw them back in her face. "Get lost," I said calmly. Cecilia looked at me in disbelief, her eyes instantly filling with tears. She rushed at me, pushing me with all her might. I merely staggered slightly, but didn't move an inch. Seeing this, Cecilia grabbed a nearby vase and, without a second thought, smashed it toward my head. Smack! A hand appeared from behind me. Hugh had heard the commotion at the door and rushed in. After hitting her, he turned to me and said, "Bro, I know you never hit women, but I'm not so forgiving. To be honest, I held back at the ceremony yesterday. Now I feel much better." I looked at Cecilia lying on the ground, then at the shattered vase, and shrugged indifferently. I felt better too. Chapter 5. Director Zhao, did you hit me again? On the ground, Cecilia covered her face, staring at Hugh in shock, her voice trembling. Hugh had been her benefactor. After all, it was the movie he directed that had won her the award. Even though she had been slapped in public yesterday, she didn't dare speak ill of Hugh in front of the media afterward. She could only vaguely suggest that there might be a misunderstanding between her and Director Zhao. "Yesterday's slap was because I regretted the movie I directed," Hugh said, his anger still simmering. "Today's slap was for my brother." "Brother?" Cecilia looked at Hugh, then at me, her eyes filled with doubt. At that moment, Kevin appeared in the distance. He rushed over, first helping Cecilia to her feet, then glaring at Hugh and me with hatred, shouting, "Director Zhao, you just directed a movie for Cecilia. What gives you the right to bully her?" "Bully her?" Hugh responded with a strange expression. "She attacked first. I was just acting in self-defense." A smile crept onto my face as I added, "I can testify." Hugh was indeed defending himself. Kevin, hearing this, immediately stood up from the ground, clenching his fists. Then he looked at Hugh, who was tall and broad-shouldered, clearly not a match. Next, he glanced at me. "I've been working out for years, and though I had a drink today, it was just one glass." Kevin unclenched his fists, muttering angrily, "I'll call the police. I have friends at the station." "You just wait." Hugh and I exchanged a glance, noticing the amused smiles on each other's faces. "Call the police? Did we break any laws?" "Not at all. Kevin has friends at the police station. Who doesn't?" Chapter 6. Cecilia, We won't be taking any more of Director Zhao's films. Anyway, you have an invitation from Director Wang for his new project, Kevin said, helping Cecilia up. He gave me a sideways glance and added smugly, he just won Best Director, but can he compare with Director Wang? Once you take Director Wang's film, you'll become even more famous. Director Zhao might even beg you to play the lead one day. Cecilia regained her composure, her face returning to its usual arrogance. She walked up to me and sneered, Storm, I don't know how you managed to get in touch with Director Zhao, but if you think that'll make me come back to you, I can only say you're too naive. I didn't bother to respond. Cecilia then turned to Hugh, picked up the broken vase shards from the ground, and cut a piece off her dress, saying, Director Zhao, you were the one who discovered me, but after repeatedly humiliating me, I'll never take another one of your films from this day forward. Hugh burst out laughing like a pig. That's a relief. After Cecilia and Kevin stormed off in anger, Hugh casually asked, Bro, did you invest in Director Wang's film? Yeah, I nodded calmly. Director Wang had attended my dinner party last night. It's my contract. Before I could finish, I glanced toward the Lamborghini in the distance. Cecilia was sitting on Kevin's lap, crying uncontrollably. I said leisurely, but I had Director Wang replace the lead actress. If she even gets a supporting role, it'll be my loss. Hugh laughed heartily again, convinced that I was truly over her. He returned to the room and refilled our glasses. Cheers. Hugh and I drank in one go. Chapter 7. Some time later, our school held a graduation party. I didn't really want to attend, but Hugh was about to start shooting a new film and needed a youthful, intellectual female lead. He asked me to help him find someone. The Film Academy is hailed as a cradle for the country's entertainment industry, and while there were plenty of beauties, finding someone who embodied both youth and intellect was no easy task. At the party, Cecilia suddenly appeared, dressed in the same white gown she had worn at the awards ceremony, entering like a star surrounded by adoring fans. Compliments poured in from everyone around her, things like the youngest movie queen in history, the pride of the Film Academy, and the most beautiful school beauty came out of my classmates' mouths one after another. Cecilia saw me but chose to ignore me. When someone asked her about me, she casually replied, Don't misunderstand, we've never dated. I felt disgusted and was about to leave when someone tapped my shoulder. Boss, finally, I found you. Do you still want the song I wrote? I turned around and saw it was Juliet. In our year at the Film Academy, Cecilia was crowned as the school beauty, and to be honest, with her looks, no one else stood a chance of taking that title while she was around. Juliet was an exception. She was just as beautiful as Cecilia, but unlike Cecilia, who was determined to conquer the film industry, Juliet set her sights on the music world. She composed and performed her own songs, and thanks to her remarkable talent, for a time, she was also referred to as a school beauty. But later, with my efforts, Cecilia soared to fame, and no one mentioned Juliet as the school beauty anymore. Juliet had entered the school after Cecilia and I started dating, so we weren't very close. However, some time ago, when I was preparing my proposal, I paid a hefty sum to buy a song from her. No need. I won't be using that song anymore. You can sing it yourself. I'll still pay you, so no need to refund me. I waved her off, but the more I looked at Juliet, the more I realized she could be perfect, youthful yet intellectual. She was the ideal candidate for Hugh's new film. I knew you wouldn't want the original song. I've rewritten it, Juliet said mysteriously, pulling out a piece of paper covered in lyrics. Boss, take a look. Since you paid a lot for it, at least give it a listen. I picked up the lyrics, and after reading them, even I couldn't stop my eyes from getting misty. The lyrics were about me, the me who once loved passionately. Chapter 8. I saw my once obsessed self in the lyrics, and for a moment, I felt lost. 3 years have passed. It looks like I've moved on. But how could it be that easy? I can accept Cecilia falling for someone else, but I can't accept that my deep affection was misplaced. I was only enduring, pretending. Juliet didn't disturb me. Instead, she turned around, sat at the piano, and slowly began to play. The melodic song filled the entire party, and the surrounding conversations gradually quieted down. Eventually, everyone fell silent, listening intently. Heaven grows old if it has feelings, only wishing that people in heaven grow white-haired together. When the song ended, there was a moment of deathly silence before thunderous applause erupted. Everyone looked at Juliet with new admiration. After tonight, this song would surely be a hit. It was just too beautiful. When the applause subsided, Juliet lifted her chin and gave me a slight nod, as if to say, Boss, was the money well spent? Across the crowd, I smiled and gave her a thumbs up, meaning, very worth it. Our interaction at the party caused quite a stir. People glanced at me, then at Cecilia, who looked visibly uncomfortable, and began whispering to each other. After 3 years of being together, even if we were low-key, many people knew about it. Junior, don't be fooled by him. He's about to graduate. And he hasn't even found a job yet. Cecilia took a deep breath and, in a condescending tone, said, I was blind to be friends with him for a few years. Just friends. Juliet blinked innocently. Not even friends. Just acquaintances at best. Cecilia, thinking of her current status, changed her tune. Is that so? Juliet looked at Cecilia with pity and, in a light-hearted tone, said, but Senior is quite wealthy. He ordered this song from me for 10 million. What? 10 million? Cecilia was stunned. Even as a movie queen, her acting skills weren't great, so her paycheck wasn't high. 10 million would take her half a year of hard work on set, and he spent 10 million just to buy a song. Cecilia turned to look at me and, suddenly thinking of something, shook her head in disdain. Impossible. Where would he get 10 million? Junior, you've probably been deceived. Chapter 9. But the 10 million is an advance payment. Juliet tried to continue, but Cecilia cut her off directly. Enough. I've known him for so long. An acquaintance. Do you really think I don't know him? Cecilia was agitated, pointing at me as she spoke. His dad came to school in rags. Could his family really be super rich? At best, they've got a little bit of money. After she finished speaking, she glanced maliciously at Juliet. I get it. You're just someone he hired to put on a show, aren't you? Tell him this for me. If you don't have money, don't try to act rich. At that, Juliet fell silent, glancing at me and pouting. I miraculously understood what she meant. Something along the lines of, why did you pick someone like her? I shrugged, then pointed at my eyes and shook my head, as if to say, I don't know. Maybe I was blind back then. Juliet and I continued interacting as if no one else was there, which only disgusted Cecilia further. She stepped in front of me, mocking, you're just a poor loser trying to put on airs. I was at a loss for words. Bypassing her, I approached Juliet and asked, Juliet, my brother Hugh has a movie, and I think he'd be perfect for the lead role. How about we step outside to discuss it? You're still lying. Cecilia followed me, interrupting again. You're barely acquainted with director Zhao. What makes you think you can choose the lead actress for his film? Besides, Juliet is from the music department. She's never studied acting. How could she possibly be an actress? I glanced helplessly at Cecilia. Why couldn't I shake her off? How annoying. Just then, a voice came from outside. Director Wang has arrived at the party. Everyone, let's go greet him. Hearing that Director Wang had arrived, Cecilia didn't waste any more time. She lifted her skirt and hurried out. Finally, some peace and quiet. Juliet and I exchanged smiles. Juliet, I'm serious about the lead role. Please consider it, I said sincerely, but Juliet smiled and shook her head, a mischievous glint in her eyes. No need to think about it. I've already agreed to star in Hugh's film. Hugh? I was stunned for a moment before realizing. You two conspired to trick me. Chapter 10. Who told you to stay cooped up at home all the time? Juliet playfully patted my shoulder. Hugh asked me to help you get back on your feet. Feeling better now? I heard this and smiled bitterly, nodding. I had let go of my feelings for Cecilia, but I hadn't been able to let go of the version of myself who had been deeply in love for 3 years. In other words, I hadn't found my heart again. It wasn't until after hearing Juliet's performance that I truly let go. If the heavens have feelings, they too will grow old. All I wish is for people to grow old together. A great man cannot stay oppressed for long. Only through self-reliance can one endure. Thank you, I said sincerely. As Juliet and I continued chatting, the room grew noisy again. Cecilia re-entered, accompanied by Director Wang. Director Wang, I've accepted the invitation for your new movie. When will the crew be assembled? I'd like to plan my schedule in advance, Cecilia said with a big smile. Upon hearing this, the surrounding students were astonished. No wonder she had become a rising film queen so quickly. She had already been cast in Director Wang's new film. Director Wang was one of the top directors in the country, and many film students had enrolled specifically because of his reputation. You could say Director Wang was a pillar of the film industry. We'll discuss it later, Director Wang replied calmly, though when he walked in and saw me, his eyes lit up and his steps quickened. He walked straight toward me, warmly grabbing my hand and saying, Chairman Liu, long time no see. Have you decided on the lead actress for my new film? Chapter 11. The female lead. I started to get a headache. Recently, these directors had been pushing me repeatedly to finalize the lead actress. There was no way around it. The female lead was a crucial character in the script. Without her, they couldn't start filming. They had no choice but to wait for me to decide. After all, I was the investor. But where could I find so many female leads for them? Cecilia stood nearby, watching as Director Wang grabbed my hand, her face filled with shock. Director Liu, Storm, you're that mysterious investor, Director Liu. There are many Director Lius, but the one investing in the entertainment industry and staying so mysterious is probably me. I came clean. Cecilia stood frozen in place, Every film she had participated in had my investment. She had once tried to inquire about director Liu, but no one knew who he was. At first, Cecilia had suspected me, but after seeing my father come to visit me at school in plain, worn clothes, she dismissed the thought. How is that possible? Your dad came to school in nothing but ragged clothes. How could you be director Liu? Cecilia rushed over, desperately trying to grab my sleeve, but I avoided her with a cold expression. I didn't want anything to do with her anymore. These young people nowadays can't even recognize Mr. Martin Liu and look down on plain clothes. Those are traditional Chinese garments. Director Wang sighed and shook his head. Cecilia shuddered at the mention of Martin's name. My father was a renowned patriotic entrepreneur, the founder of Huaxia Microelectronics Group, who built an empire from the ground up and became a giant in the tech industry, famous nationwide. Martin is your father, Liu. Cecilia covered her mouth, finally waking up from her dream. Only now did she realize what she had missed. But I felt relieved. It was good that she missed it. Otherwise, it would have been a disgrace to my family. With that thought, I nodded slightly and admitted, indeed, my father is Martin. After a brief pause, I calmly looked at Cecilia. And yes, he's the man you called poorly dressed. Chapter 12. Cecilia looked at me in despair, tears welling up in her eyes. I ignored her, though. Director Wang was anxiously telling me that his new film was about to start filming, and I had to quickly decide on the lead actress. Frustrated, I grabbed Juliet, who was standing nearby, watching the scene unfold. Director Wang, how about her? The idea came to me suddenly. This young lady. Director Wang looked Juliet up and down, first nodding in satisfaction, then hesitating. I'm just not sure about her acting skills. How about this? Young lady, show me a happy expression. Juliet, however, pulled a long face. Perfect. The female lead in the film is supposed to be quirky like that. This is interesting. Director Wang nodded in satisfaction again. This counts as passing. Juliet was surprised, then caught on after seeing the expression on Director Wang's face. So, no matter if I cry or smile, I'd pass. Right. Smart and quick-witted, just like the female lead in the film. Director Wang laughed heartily and patted me on the shoulder. Director Liu is the investor, so it's up to him to decide the female lead. Juliet tried to run, but I grabbed her. You're already in Hugh's film. How could you pass up the opportunity to work with Director Wang? I said seriously. I have faith in you. You'll be a star in both the film and music industry. Juliet was swayed by my words. Actually, my schedule is pretty empty, and I've been honing my acting skills for a while. I'd love to join the crew. Even if I'm not the lead, I'll take a supporting role. Cecilia approached, looking at me pitifully. Storm, for the sake of these past 3 years, I interrupted her immediately. Don't bring up those 3 years. I consider them a waste on a dog. After that, I walked out with Director Wang and Juliet, leaving one last sentence before closing the door. Forget being the lead. You're not even fit to be an extra. Chapter 13. After the entertainment gala, the song Love composed by Juliet became a viral hit across the internet, and everyone witnessed her talent. A rare genius in the music world. That was the public's assessment of her. While fans eagerly anticipated Juliet releasing an album, I arranged for her to be cast as the lead actress, not in one, but in many films. I handed her all the contracts. When directors asked if the female lead had been decided, I told them directly, yes, it's Juliet. She's a student of film, 1 year below me, and she's my junior. As for whether those directors could secure her schedule, sorry, I'm just the investor. I don't handle that. I only provide the funds. Money, there's plenty of it. Casting her, you'll have to sort out the scheduling yourself. Brother, you're ruthless. When I visited Hugh on set, he pointed at Juliet, who was getting her makeup touched up, and smiled wryly. I have to fight for her schedule now. I couldn't help but laugh. Seeing the bittersweet look on Juliet's face, I burst out. That's what she gets for conspiring with you to trick me into going to the gala. Brother, don't hold a grudge. Let me tell you something. Hugh pulled me aside. I've spoken with people in the industry, and we've decided to blacklist those 2 scumbags. Blacklist. I muttered the word, waving my hand disinterestedly. Do as you like. I don't have any feelings left for her. Chapter 14. After that, Cecilia never appeared on screen again. It wasn't just her. Kevin, too. The once rising movie queen and the popular star vanished entirely from the public eye, and no one in the entertainment industry offered them any roles. Later, Cecilia came to me, hoping I would give her a break. I didn't even open the door. Soon after, the Golden Rose Awards quietly removed Cecilia's award record, and the world forgot about her. But soon, rumors began spreading online, accusing me of being a heartless rich kid. The Post claimed that I bullied men and women alike in college, committed countless misdeeds, and even forced myself on Cecilia. It said I was the one behind her blacklist. I read the entire post and could only sum it up with one word: nonsense. It's easy to spread rumors but hard to dispel them. The post quickly climbed to the top of the trending searches, and my identity as the eldest son of the Liu family was fully exposed to the public. "Son, did you get yourself into trouble?" My father called, not to scold me, but simply out of concern. "Yeah, I misjudged someone," I admitted without hesitation. My father told me to handle it myself, so I asked him a question over the phone. "Dad, is our family's money clean?" On the other end, I heard my father's hearty laugh. "I can't speak for others, but our family's money is absolutely spotless." Reassured, I immediately called for Butler's son. "Investigate. I want to know who dares to slander me." Chapter 15. Butler's son quickly found out who posted the message, and to my surprise, it wasn't Cecilia, it was Kevin. To be precise, Kevin had first tried to provoke Cecilia into doing it, but when that failed, he concocted the story himself. Later, he asked Cecilia for some details, which is how the post that went viral across the internet came to be. Thinking about it, it makes sense. Cecilia may be foolish, but not so foolish as to claim that I bullied men and women during my university days. There were plenty of people in our year. Everyone saw what happened, and fairness is in the heart of the people. Keep investigating. I don't believe someone like Kevin is clean. Dig up his dirt, I ordered again. Butler's son was already prepared, producing a thick stack of materials. I glanced through it and was stunned. The documents showed that Kevin had been involved in the abduction of young girls. This was a clear violation of the criminal law. "Hand the materials over to the authorities," I said, with one sentence sealing Kevin's fate. 3 months later, Kevin was sentenced to 13 years in prison. When I received the news, I merely said, "He brought it on himself." Then, I began dealing with the rumors about me. In fact, there wasn't much to deal with. The reporters did a round through the film industry, and the rumors collapsed on their own. How could people have not noticed what I was like at school? At some point, a few pages of my chat history with Cecilia had even been leaked. Sweet, mushy words were exposed. "You know why I feel sleepy every time I see you?" Other, "Why? Because you're so sweet. It makes me want to sleep." "Do you smell something?" Other, "No." "What smell?" "It's the smell of my love for you." "Do you know the difference between you and the stars?" Other, "What difference?" "The stars are in the sky, and you are in my heart." The entire internet was in shock. The esteemed eldest son of the Liu family had actually been a simp. When Juliet saw these chat logs, she burst into laughter on the spot. I felt both angry and embarrassed, my toes curling inward uncontrollably. After all, everyone does foolish things in their youth. As more of my information was exposed, people discovered that although I came from a wealthy family, I had always been an exemplary student, truly a gifted child from a small town. I had donated to many charitable causes, and thanks to my contributions, many children in remote villages were able to attend school and change their lives. Some even revealed that the song Love was based on me. From then on, all the rumors about me completely died down. Chapter 16. After I took over my family's company, Hugh came to see me and showed me a video. In the video, Cecilia was scantily dressed, starring in a pornographic film. Before this film was released, Hugh had managed to have it blocked. Otherwise, it would have caused yet another scandal if it had hit the market. I finished watching with a gloomy expression, put down my phone, and glanced at him. "Didn't you say you were going to blacklist her? Does a pornographic film count?" Hugh looked conflicted. "Isn't a pornographic film still a movie?" I said seriously. Hugh hesitated. "So, should I have it rejected?" I nodded. After Hugh left, I thought about it and sent him a message. "There's nothing wrong with rejecting the pornographic film, but forget about blacklisting her. Leave her a way out. Let the market decide." Hugh replied with a salute emoji. Later, Cecilia made a comeback, but her acting remained stiff, and the market didn't accept her. Gradually, she disappeared from the public eye. Occasionally, I heard others mention that she might have found someone to marry. I didn't care and wasn't interested. Juliet, on the other hand, has now become a top-tier star in both the film and music industries. Insanely popular. Thankfully, the business my grandfather left me was solid enough, and I protected her well, keeping the filth of the entertainment world from tainting her. Hugh seemed to have noticed something and subtly hinted to me multiple times that my grandfather had asked him to find me a wife. I told him I hadn't met the right person yet, which made Hugh anxious enough to slap his thigh in frustration several times. Chapter 17. Juliet suddenly came to me, saying she wanted to drop her upcoming projects and take a few months off to rest on an island. I nodded in agreement. She definitely needed a break. I didn't want her to wear herself out. 3 months later, Hugh sent me a movie for review. When I saw the title, I couldn't forget it for a long time. Big Winds and Waves was. It was the movie Cecilia had won an award for years ago. Hugh had always talked about remaking it, but I hadn't heard any updates. And now, out of nowhere, he had surprised me. That day, I gave myself a break, turned on my computer, and watched this new art film. Juliet's face appeared on the screen, making me feel disoriented for a moment. As the movie progressed, I realized that in this version, the protagonist was no longer based on me. It was a girl, like a breeze passing over the water, causing ripples to form. At the end of the movie, the filming date appeared. It wasn't this year. It was from before the original award ceremony. Looking at this date, I hurriedly found the old version online and discovered that in an inconspicuous corner, Juliet had always been present, perhaps as a passerby, maybe in the background of a library, or in a long shot where I waited outside the girls' dormitory. She had always been there. I turned off the computer, smoked many cigarettes, and listened to Love on repeat for a long time. Let the past stay in the past, I muttered, extinguishing my cigarette. If the heavens have emotions, even they would grow old. May people grow old together with the sky. As I pondered the lyrics, the more meaningful they seemed, like a love letter hidden in the passage of time, finally delivered to me after so many years. Thankfully, it's not too late. Chapter 18. I picked up my phone and sent Juliet a message. Have you rested enough? You stingy capitalist, still trying to exploit me. Juliet replied with a voice message, as lively and mischievous as always. I chuckled and responded, what I mean is, you might need more rest. How much longer can I rest? About 90 days. The law states that maternity leave is just that long. There was no reply for a long time, and I began to feel a bit anxious. After who knows how long, my phone screen finally lit up again, with just one line, if you give it, I'll take it. I laughed heartily, grabbed my coat, and embarked on my journey to East Sea. The island is in East Sea,